Lucas and I had been together for roughly 8 months. He was handsome, well-liked, and his TikTok account was exploding in popularity. He focused on motorcycle content, sharing slow-motion clips of him accelerating his bike, which earned him around 50,000 followers and a couple of minor sponsorships. Lucas thrived on the spotlight whenever folks spotted him at fuel stops or left flame emojis in his comments. But recently, it had begun inflating his ego. Then one day, a friend mentioned seeing him at the shopping center with Haley Patterson, this girl who'd been leaving flirty remarks on all his videos, and I lost it. When I questioned him, Lucas swore they were only pals and accused me of being paranoid and envious. He even proposed we split if his online fame was overwhelming for me. So, I chose to hit him with evidence. I persuaded him to join a couple's truth or dare stream from my place. He jumped at the idea since it equaled more material. We prepared in my family room with proper illumination, set out treats, and started broadcasting around 8 p.m. on Friday. Viewers poured in. His audience mainly gushed about how adorable we appeared as a pair. We began lightly, like what's your top quality in one another, or mimic the other. The crowd enjoyed it. The comments went wild, and Lucas hammed it up for the lens. About 30 minutes later, I changed the tone. Truth or dare? I asked teasingly. He smirked at the viewers. Truth. I'm an open book. The chat erupted with ideas. I disregarded them. Did you hook up with Haley Patterson last Friday after claiming you were ill? Lucas's grin stiffened, and the comments detonated. What the heck, Amanda? He muttered, eyeing the audience tally. 3,000 folks were tuned in as his facade crumbled. It's truth or dare. You chose truth. I whipped out my phone and pressed play. The sound rang out clearly in his tone. Get back in bed, Haley. We have plenty of time before that idiot arrives. Haley had uploaded it to her restricted Instagram profile, the one with limited access. A buddy of mine captured screenshots and forwarded the recording before Haley removed it. Lucas leaped for my device, but I yanked it back. The comments spiraled out of control. This was spreading instantly. You planned this, he whispered harshly. You betrayed me, Luke, I replied, facing the camera. I wanted the world to see your true colors. His expression shifted entirely. The charisma and phony assurance he flaunted vanished. He appeared utterly furious. I could tell it struck him hard. We were streaming live. Thousands observed. His flawless persona was shattering before their eyes, yet he couldn't halt it. Amanda, end the stream. Hand over the phone. He was visibly trembling with anger. No, Amanda, I'm not joking. Yeah, and I was serious when you denied seeing Haley. He thrust his seat backward with such force it toppled over. You find this amusing? You believe exposing me live is some empowerment stunt. Lucas, relax. I began. Don't order me to relax. He paced, raking his fingers through his hair. I'll end you for this. You get that? I'll end you. He dashed to the kitchen surface and seized the large carving blade from beside the chopping block, then pivoted toward me. My gut sank. Luke, you've wrecked my existence, Lucas stated, advancing with the blade elevated. You've obliterated all I've built. I retreated from the setup, pulse racing. Lucas, lower the blade. Please, I'll end you, he bellowed. I vow I'll end you for this. I whirled and dashed for the exit, but he pursued closely. I heard his steps, his gasps, and his yells echoing. The broadcast continued, capturing it all. 3,000 viewers witnessed my flight for survival. I reached the entrance, but fumbled the lock. Lucas clutched my top and jerked me rearward. I shrieked. He slashed the blade at my cheek. I thrust my limb upward and sensed the slice. I wailed as warm blood streamed along my arm. You've demolished me. He sobbed now while lifting the blade once more. All my efforts are ruined. They despise me. I snatched a vase from the stand and hurled it at him. It struck his arm, and he staggered. The blade arced erratically and nicked my flank just under my ribs. Agony surged through me. Then the entryway flew open. My pals burst inside. Tyler slammed into Lucas from the side, and they tumbled. The blade slid across the ground. Maya leaped onto Lucas's rear as Jake restrained his limbs. Lucas kept ranting and struggling. Release me. I'll end every one of you. She shattered everything. Jake's partner had her device recording. Lucas writhed, attempting to chomp Tyler's limb and boot at Maya. It required all three to subdue him until law enforcement showed up. When the officers arrived, Lucas persisted with threats. They restrained him amid his shouts about his audience and profession. As they hauled him to the vehicle, he glanced back at me. You believe this concludes, he yelled. I'll hunt you upon release. You're finished, Amanda. Understand, you're finished. The broadcast remained active throughout. By dawn, it dominated feeds. Lucas faced charges of assault, menacing threats, and attempted homicide. He accepted a plea. He received 3 years in youth facility, but his attorney ensured I learned that when Lucas hits 18 in 6 months, he'll shift to adult incarceration. And upon release, in 2.5 years, no barrier prevents him from locating me. Overall, I required 40 stitches, 23 on my arm, 17 on my side. I erased all my profiles and switched my contact. My folks added alarms, but none eases my fear, since I know Lucas intended each threat he uttered. Ethan and I had this little TikTok duo account where we posted dumb skits, food challenges, and the occasional prank. Nothing crazy, just enough to hit 24,000 followers and score a few free energy drink deals. But for the past 2 months, the views had flatlined. We were stuck. The comments were turning mean, and the algorithm had basically buried us alive. One Thursday night, Ethan blew up my phone. "Bro, I found the one. This trend is gonna send us to 1 million overnight." I asked what it was. He called it Number Overnight Squatter. The rules were simple, but insane. Break into an empty-looking house after midnight, hide until sunrise, film the whole thing, and post it raw. Everyone who'd done it recently had exploded. I told him it sounded like actual jail time waiting to happen. He just laughed and said, "We're 16, not 60. Live a little." We picked the perfect target, a 2-story house 3 streets over that had been dark for weeks. Mail overflowing, grass dead, newspapers yellowing on the porch. We waited until 12:47 a.m., slipped on black hoodies like we were in a movie, and crawled through an unlocked basement window. The place smelled like old pizza and something sharp, almost metallic. Ethan was already recording on his phone, whispering hype lines for the intro. "Yo, we inside the ghost house. Let's see if we survive till morning." We crept upstairs. Kitchen counters were covered in takeout boxes, crawling with ants. The fridge had half-eaten burgers turning green. Ethan opened one, sniffed it, gagged for the camera, then sprayed an entire bottle of $1,000-looking cologne he found in the bathroom. "Smelling like money now, chat," he laughed. The live comments were going nuts, hearts flying, people calling us legends. Then someone in the chat wrote, "Yo, why is there a pile of bedsheets in the corner with giant red stains?" Ethan swung the flashlight. In the living room corner was a heap of white sheets, soaked dark in the middle, still wet and glistening. My stomach flipped. "That's not paint, man." Ethan zoomed in, trying to play it off as content, but his voice cracked. "Chat, chill. Probably fake blood from Halloween, or that's when we heard it." A key sliding into the front door lock. We killed the flashlight and dove for cover. I crammed myself into the hallway closet. Ethan slid under the master bed. My heart was hammering so loud I was scared the guy would hear it. Heavy boots climbed the stairs. A man in his late 40s walked in wearing paint-stained jeans and a plain gray hoodie. Normal looking, the kind of face you'd forget in a grocery line. That made it 10 times worse. He went straight to the sheet pile, flipped it back like it was laundry day, and there it was, a dead man, maybe 50, one clean bullet hole in the forehead, eyes still open and glossy. The blood hadn't even fully dried. I slapped my hand over my mouth so hard I tasted blood. The man sighed like he was annoyed about dishes, grabbed the corpse under the arms, and started dragging it toward the hallway, leaving a thick red smear on the hardwood. He stopped halfway out the door, sniffed, actually sniffed the air like a dog. "I smell teenage cologne," he said, almost amused. "Come on out, kid. I'll make it fast." He pulled a pistol from his waistband. I heard Ethan's muffled whimper under the bed. The man dropped to his knees, looked underneath, and smiled. "There you are." The gunshot punched my eardrums. One single loud crack. Ethan's body jerked once and went still. I watched his phone slide out from his limp hand, still recording, lens pointed at his open, empty eyes, while blood spread under his head like spilled paint. The man stood up, grabbed Ethan by the ankles, and dragged him next to the first body. He was humming, actually humming. Then he froze again, tilted his head. "Wait, you said we on the way in, didn't you?" He started searching. Behind the couch, inside cabinets, kicking open doors. I pressed myself deeper into the closet, coats over my face, praying he couldn't hear me breathing. His shadow fell across the closet door. The knob turned slowly. I didn't plan it. I just reacted. I slammed every ounce of my weight against the door. It smashed into his face with a wet crunch. He stumbled backward, cursing, gun swinging wild. I bolted past him, down the stairs, 3 at a time, shoes slipping on blood. 2 gunshots boomed behind me. Plaster exploded off the wall by my ear. I hit the front door at full speed, burst out into the cold night, and ran until my lungs burned and my legs gave out 4 blocks away. I called 911, sobbing so hard the operator kept asking me to repeat myself. Police found both bodies exactly where I said. The first victim was the actual homeowner, reported missing 16 days earlier. Ethan was still clutching his phone. The recording caught everything, including the moment the bullet took his life. They caught the killer 3 days later, hiding at his sister's place with a packed suitcase. Turns out he was the dead guy's ex-business partner. They'd argued over money, and he'd come back that night to move the body. We literally broke in the same night he returned to clean up his murder. Ethan's funeral was closed casket. His mom hugged me once and whispered, "He always said you were the brave one." Then she walked away and never looked at me again. The final video hit 42 million views before TikTok took it down. Half the comments still say it's fake, that we staged it for clout, that the blood looks too real to be real. Some creator even slowed down the gunshot frame by frame to prove it was CGI. We just wanted to go viral. We did. And now every time I close my eyes, I still see Ethan's arm drop, hear that single crack, and smell that cologne mixing with blood. I deleted the app, smashed my phone, moved schools, but nothing deletes the fact that my best friend died for a trend, on camera, reaching for likes that keep coming even after he's gone. In senior year, there was this girl named Brielle who basically owned the entire school. Perfect skin, rich parents, designer backpack, and almost 6,000 TikTok followers because she posted "Get ready with me" videos and dance clips in the hallway. She acted like the building 3,000 square feet of popularity gave her the right to ruin lives. Her favorite punching bag was Harper. Quiet, straight-A, always had her nose in a book, wore the same 2 hoodies on rotation. Harper never bothered anyone, which made her the perfect target. One Thursday after volleyball practice, I was changing in the locker room when I heard Brielle's fake sweet voice bounce off the tiles. She was live on TikTok, phone held high like a trophy. "Guys, you are not gonna believe the disaster I just found in the showers. Say hi to the creature." I turned the corner and saw Harper pressed against the wall, dripping wet, clutching a towel for dear life. Her face was scarlet, eyes already spilling tears. Brielle circled her like a shark, zooming in on every stretch mark, every goosebump, every tremble. "Look at this, besties," Brielle sang. "This is what happens when you care more about books than basic hygiene." The live chat scrolled so fast it blurred. Laughing emojis, vomit emojis, Ewa, ratio. "Someone get her a razor." Harper tried to shrink into the tile. Brielle reached out and yanked at the towel. Harper screamed and yanked it back, but the corner slipped for half a second, and the chat absolutely detonated. Brielle cackled. That's when something in my chest snapped. I'd watched Brielle do this to other girls for 3 straight years and stayed quiet because I didn't want the spotlight on me. But seeing Harper shaking Harper sob while hundreds of strangers tore her apart live on the internet broke the last thread. I stepped between them. "Stop the live, Brielle, now." She swung the phone to my face. "Oh my God, chat, it's Captain Save a Nerd." Everybody spam crying emojis. I looked straight into the lens. "Your dad's been sleeping with his secretary for 2.5 years. That's why your mom packed a bag and moved to your aunt's condo in March. She left you the house because she couldn't stand looking at him or you anymore." The locker room went dead quiet, except for the ping, ping, ping of notifications. Brielle's smile cracked clean in half. "Shut up, Ellie. And that nose you keep bragging about. You got it done in Miami last summer. Your cousin leaked the before pics on her private story for exactly 6 hours before you threatened to ruin her life. I have the screenshots." Brielle's face went from pink to purple. The chat was pure chaos. Popcorn emojis, screenshots flying, people tagging her mom's Facebook. She screamed and slapped me so hard my ears rang. Then she lunged to the nearest open locker, grabbed a pair of heavy art class scissors, the long silver ones with the pointed tips, and held them up to the camera like a trophy. "Let's see how pretty you are with no hair, hero." She grabbed a fistful of my ponytail and raised the scissors. That's when Harper moved. I didn't even see her coming. 1 second, she was a trembling mess in the corner. The next, she was airborne. She slammed into Brielle's back like a linebacker. Brielle stumbled forward, scissors clattering across the tile. Harper dropped, snatched them up, and charged. The first stab went straight into Brielle's left eye. The scream that came out wasn't human. It was metal scraping metal. Blood sprayed across the white tile in perfect arcs. Brielle's hands flew to her face, but Harper was already stabbing again. Neck, collarbone, chest, anywhere soft. She was laughing. This high, broken, victorious laugh while she worked. I screamed for someone to get help, but everyone else was frozen, phones still up, recording every second. Brielle collapsed. Harper straddled her and kept going long after she stopped moving. Blood pooled so fast it reached my sneakers. Harper's arms were painted red to the elbows. Hair stuck to her face with it, and she was still laughing. Teachers and security finally burst in. It took 3 of them to drag Harper off. She fought like a wild animal, scissors still clutched in her fist, trying to crawl back to finish what she started. The entire thing, from Brielle's cruel live to Harper's final stab, was 13 minutes and 42 seconds. Someone downloaded it before TikTok nuked the account. It's still floating around gore sites, shock forums, even Reddit threads that argue whether the blood spray pattern is realistic. Brielle was pronounced dead at the hospital. Harper was ruled incompetent to stand trial. Complete psychotic break triggered by prolonged, targeted harassment. She's in a locked psychiatric ward now, heavily medicated. Every Valentine's Day and every birthday, I get a handmade card in the mail, childish flowers drawn in marker. Always the same message in neat block letters. Thank you for being my only real friend that day. Love, Harper. Sometimes the paper smells faintly like antiseptic. Sometimes there are tiny rust-colored fingerprints in the corner. I visited once. She looked calm, almost sleepy, until I accidentally said Brielle's name. Harper's eyes went glassy. Her lips curled into that same broken smile, and the laugh started again. Low, wet giggles that made the nurses rush in. They banned phones in locker rooms, started mandatory anti-cyberbullying assemblies, installed cameras everywhere. Brielle's parents tried to sue the school, the app, half the senior class. Every case got thrown out. But nothing throws out the memory. I still wake up tasting metal in the air. I still see Harper's red arms rising and falling. I still hear that laugh, and every time another card arrives with those careful flowers, and that careful thank you, I wonder if Harper even remembers that I'm trapped in that locker room too, just on the other side of the blood. Hey, my name is Ethan, and I need to get this off my chest. It all started a few years ago, back when TikTok was still kind of a small thing, and nobody outside certain circles really cared about it. That's when the obsession began. Every single morning I'd wake up, grab my phone, and stare at a blank notification screen, hoping something, anything, would finally light it up. If you search for me today, you won't find a trace. Every account I ever had is gone, permanently suspended, erased, like I never existed. But there was a time when my name was everywhere, just not for anything good. The first taste of real attention came completely by accident. I caught an actual high fever, nothing dramatic, just enough to knock me flat. I was bored out of my mind, dripping sweat, and miserable. So I filmed a 10-second clip of myself looking wrecked and captioned it, "I feel like death." For the first time in forever, the comments poured in, hundreds of people asking if I was okay, telling me to rest, writing whole paragraphs about how strong I was for sharing my struggle. That flood of care felt like someone had handed me oxygen after months underwater. I soaked it up. Then I got better. And just like that, the silence returned, colder and heavier than before. My phone went dead again. It honestly felt like someone had unplugged my entire life support. So I did the only thing I could think of. I posted an update saying the fever was hanging on, that I still wasn't right. The sympathy came rushing back, stronger than the first time. The rush was instant, electric, addictive. That's when the rot quietly set in. I was alone most days. My parents and siblings were always at work or school, so it was just me, my room, and an endless scroll. Time stopped meaning anything. The only moments that felt real were when a new comment popped up. Eventually, even "I'm still sick" stopped cutting it. Views dropped. The algorithm doesn't reward boring. You either keep people hooked or you vanish. That reality sat on my chest like a cinder block. The thought of sliding back into being nobody made my stomach turn. So I escalated. I said the illness had moved into my nerves, that my legs were getting weaker every day. People bought it immediately. They called me courageous, a warrior, started Venmoing me money for medical bills. I'd never felt more seen in my entire life. I started practicing, dragging my feet when I walked so the limp looked natural on camera, filming myself leaning on furniture like I couldn't stand straight. The sympathy exploded. I ordered the cheapest wheelchair I could find online. It squeaked like crazy, but on video, it looked convincing enough. Grown adults were openly crying in my comments. Donations doubled. For the first time, the constant quiet in my room was gone. Every morning, I woke up in a panic that today would be the day they all stopped caring. I'd check my phone before my feet even hit the floor. The fear of silence again made me physically nauseous. So I kept pushing the story darker. I filmed myself trembling, did fake pain episodes at 3 a.m., made everything look as raw and desperate as possible. The follower count climbed, but the knot in my throat never loosened. I barely slept. I hid the wheelchair and all the props from my family. I'd sit in it for hours when nobody was home, so my legs would actually look stiff and pale on camera. At some point, I stopped being able to tell what was real and what was performance. Uploading became pure dread. My throat would close up while the video processed, terrified someone would finally call me out. But the comments always saved me and imprisoned me at the same time. You're so strong. Keep fighting. That word, strong, started tasting like poison. Then one follower slid into my DMs asking for proof, actual medical papers. My heart stopped. If they exposed me, everything would collapse. I spent all night hunting down blank doctor note templates, filled them out in shaky handwriting, spilled coffee on the corners to age them. I sent the scans with my stomach in my throat. They believed me, but the fear didn't leave. It just grew roots. When the donations started slowing again, something inside me cracked. I stared at the wheelchair, at the ring light, at the empty notification bar, and realized faking it wasn't enough anymore. I needed something undeniable, something that would force them to keep believing forever. The idea crept in softly. Give them something real, something they could never question. My family still had no clue what was really going on. They thought I had some mysterious progressive illness. I hid receipts, boxes, everything. I'd pretend to nap whenever someone checked on me. But the final shove didn't come from me. It came from the audience. They started demanding more proof, close-ups of scars that didn't exist, live streams of hospital visits that weren't happening. Comments turned into commands. If it's really that bad, show us. No cuts this time. We need to see it for real. I should have shut the phone off and walked away. Instead, I refreshed the page over and over until the pressure warped into duty. I told myself I'd only fake it one last time, something shocking enough to silence the doubters forever. I stashed a small, sharp tool under my pillow, swearing it was just a prop. But the longer it sat there, the more the line blurred. That night, I propped the phone on the carpet, hit record, and gave a shaky update. It's getting worse. I can't do this anymore." The live chat lit up instantly. "Don't stop now. Show us. Prove it." It didn't feel like support anymore. It felt like a mob shoving me off a ledge for entertainment. I sat cross-legged on the floor, breathing so hard my vision blurred, staring at the tool in my hand. I rolled up my sleeve. My pulse was hammering in my ears. The blade hovered just above my skin. The chat kept scrolling. "Do it. We're here for you. If you back out now, everyone will know you lied." Someone typed, "Frauds don't deserve sympathy." I actually pressed down. The door exploded open so hard it bounced off the wall. My older brother tackled me sideways before I could finish the motion, wrenching the tool away. My parents grabbed my arms and pinned me gently but firmly, like I was made of glass about to shatter. They weren't angry. They looked hollowed out, eyes wide, realizing how close they'd just come to losing me. I couldn't meet their faces. All I could see was the phone still glowing on the floor, live chat flying by, with strangers egging me on to destroy myself for their content. They didn't shout. They just held me, kept murmuring my name until the shaking stopped, then carried me out of that room like I was a little kid again. Straight to the car, straight to the ER. No audience, no likes. Just the crushing weight of almost throwing my life away for notifications. The doctors admitted me for psych evaluation that same night. My accounts were reported and wiped within hours, donations reversed. My name disappeared from trends faster than it had ever appeared. I'm in therapy now, proper inpatient stuff for a while, then outpatient. I'm learning how to exist without an audience measuring my worth in real time. I'm not proud of a single thing I did. I can't even blame the viewers entirely. I'm the one who kept raising the stakes. I crossed every line myself. Some nights, I still feel the ghost pressure of that blade on my arm and realize how paper-thin the gap was. If my family had come home 10 seconds later, I might have done permanent damage just to keep strangers entertained. That's the part that keeps me awake, knowing I almost let a crowd of people who didn't even know my real last name decide whether I was worth keeping whole. And that's the weight I carry now, every single day that I'm still here. Hey, I'm Kay, and what happened to me still doesn't feel real when I say it out loud. I make little videos for a living, nothing big, just makeup swatches, outfit ideas, whatever's trending that week. I live with my older sister Jenna in this tiny rented house, a little outside town. The only real annoyance is the basement. It stays damp no matter what we do. Smells like old wood and mold, and the single bulb down there flickers like it's personally offended by electricity. That afternoon, I was completely alone. Jenna had texted me earlier saying she was heading downtown to grab new work shoes and wouldn't be back till evening. I barely replied. I had 4 reviews to film before sunset, and I was already behind. Everything was totally ordinary until I was on my 3rd take of some random lip gloss haul. Out of nowhere came this sharp thud from underneath the floorboards, like someone knocked on wood with their knuckles. Not loud, but deliberate. I froze mid-sentence, waited. Nothing. Told myself it was the house settling, kept filming. 5 minutes later, it happened again. Harder, same rhythm. Definitely coming from the basement this time. I rolled my eyes so hard, I nearly pulled a muscle. Classic Jenna move. Sneak home early and scare me for content. I fired off a text. If you're downstairs, quit it. I'm working. Instant reply. I'm literally in the middle of the shoe store, look. She attached a photo. Shelves of sneakers behind her, timestamp, and everything. My stomach did a tiny flip, but I shoved it down. Houses make noises, whatever. Still, the next knock came right on cue, like it was answering me. At that point, I grabbed my phone, hit record, and decided if my sister wanted to play ghost, I'd catch her red-handed and get a viral prank clip out of it. I checked the front door, locked, side window closed. No extra shoes by the mat. Nobody had come in. I told myself she must have slipped in the back somehow. I walked to the basement door, holding the phone up like a weapon, ready to yell, "Gotcha." The knocking stopped the exact second my fingers touched the handle. I cracked the door open. The stairs disappeared into black. I flipped on the camera light, started rolling, and whispered, "I know you're down there, clown." My voice sounded steadier than I felt. First step creaked loud enough to wake the dead. I waited at the top, letting the silence build for drama. Then I heard it. Not a knock anymore, more like someone shifting their weight on the concrete below. Soft scrape. I aimed the light down. Nothing, just darkness eating the beam. My phone buzzed. Another photo from Jenna. Same store, different angle, holding up 2 different shoes with the caption, "Help me choose lol." I typed back, "You're seriously not home? Kay, what is going on?" I stared down the stairs and felt my knees go loose. If she wasn't here, then something else was. I turned to head back up, and the door slammed shut behind me so hard the frame shook. I yanked the knob. It wouldn't budge. Not locked, held. Something on the other side was pushing back with steady pressure. I didn't scream. I just pulled harder, over and over, until my palms burned. The basement stayed dead quiet behind me, which somehow felt worse than any sound. I gave up on the door and swung the phone light down the stairs again. Empty. Old washer, cardboard boxes, concrete floor. Nothing moved, but I knew better now. I took one step down, then another. Each creak sounded like a gunshot in my ears. Halfway down, I heard dragging behind me, slow, like heavy cloth sliding over wood. I whipped the light up. Shapes, more than one, coming down the stairs after me. They weren't right. Edges kept blurring, stretching, folding in ways that hurt to look at. No clear faces, no normal arms or legs, just long, thin pieces bending the wrong directions. Silent, fast, I stumbled backward down the last few steps, hit the floor hard, phone flying out of my hand. It spun across the concrete, throwing wild flashes of the ceiling. Before I could crawl to it, those things were already at the bottom. Something razor-thin grazed my forearm, instant fire. Then again across my shoulder. Then everywhere. I kicked, thrashed, tried to scream, but the air felt thick. One of them wrapped around my ankle and twisted until I heard the bone snap. Another yanked my left arm so hard the socket popped with a wet crunch. The pain was constant, everywhere, like being torn apart by 100 careful hands. My own screams echoed back at me off the walls. The phone's light flickered once, just long enough for me to see them clearly. No eyes, no mouths, just pale, stretched skin and too many joints. Then, a final blow to my ribs folded me in half in the world, cut to black. I woke up under bright hospital lights. Couldn't move anything except my eyes. Jenna was holding my hand, sobbing, Mom behind her shaking like a leaf. Machines beeped. Every tiny shift of the bed felt like knives. They wheeled me out later, and I caught my reflection in a metal cabinet. Legs twisted at impossible angles, one arm dangling useless, torso covered in deep, perfectly straight cuts, layered over chaotic scratches, like someone had drawn on me with scalpels for hours. I could only croak one thing to Jenna: never go back to that house. The doctors kept asking what kind of animal could do this inside a locked basement. Nothing they knew made wounds that clean and that insane at the same time. Weeks of surgeries, skin grafts, therapy. Police took statements I couldn't even give properly. Jenna went back once, in full daylight, with 4 friends standing guard outside. She grabbed what little we cared about, and we never returned. My phone survived. The video is still on it. Mostly darkness, my panicked breathing. A few seconds of those things in the flickering light before it all goes red and cuts out. I still flinch every time a floorboard creaks. Some nights, I wake up feeling cold fingers dragging across my skin that isn't there anymore. That house is empty now. For sale sign out front. Price slashed every month. I hope whoever buys it never opens the basement door. My name is Dylan, and I still check the locks 3 times before I sleep. I make dumb little videos, challenges, reactions, random clips of my day. Nothing huge, just enough that a couple thousand people usually watch. I never thought one username could ruin my life. Her name on the app was Emma Ray. Profile picture, sweet smile, peace sign, looked like any other fan. At first, she just commented on everything, long paragraphs, stitched every video, quoted things I'd said weeks earlier. Normal parasocial stuff, annoying but harmless. Or so I thought. Then I posted one photo with my girlfriend Mia. Nothing special, just us at dinner. That single picture flipped a switch. The next day, Emma's comments turned bitter. She posted rants about how real fans get replaced the second a creator finds someone in real life. She said Mia was using me, that she understood me on a level Mia never could. I laughed it off. Mia laughed it off. Biggest mistake we ever made. Emma started dressing like the outfits I'd once said I liked. She made edits of my face over romantic movie scenes. When people tagged me asking what was going on, I blocked her. She made 10 new accounts in a week. Different names, different photos, same writing style. She was everywhere. One night, Mia texted me that she kept feeling watched outside her apartment. Footsteps that stopped when she turned around. Shadows that moved too fast. I told her it was nothing, but my stomach already knew. Days later, Mia stepped out to take a call while I waited inside. The apartment felt too quiet. Every second, she was gone stretched forever. When she ran back in, her voice was shaking. There was a girl across the street filming me the whole time. Round face, messy ponytail. She didn't even blink when I stared right at her. I didn't need to ask who it was. I walked to the window, heart hammering. The street was empty. That emptiness felt worse than if she'd still been standing there. We tried to move on. Then, one evening, Mia didn't answer texts. I called, no reply. I drove to her place in full panic. Her front door was cracked open. Inside, the lights were off except one lamp that had fallen over. She was on the kitchen floor, bleeding from her head and arms, barely conscious. She managed to whisper that a woman had broken in, put a hand over her mouth, and kept repeating my name like a prayer while cutting her. Said she had to remove the problem. The attacker fled when she heard neighbors in the hall. I held Mia while the ambulance came. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The police took statements, but we had no real name, no address, nothing solid. They told us to stay somewhere else for a while. I crashed at my best friend Cole's house. I spent the entire first night sitting up, listening to every sound outside. At 3:17 a.m., I heard the back gate creak, then soft footsteps on the grass. I crept to the window. Moonlight showed a figure crouched by the shed, phone pointed at the house, shoulders heaving like she'd been running. Same round face, same messy hair. Emma had followed the tiniest clues from my stories. A street sign here, a coffee shop logo there, and tracked me across 3 cities. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a metal baseball bat Cole kept by the door, and waited in the dark hallway. The back door handle turned slowly. She was trying to be quiet. She slipped inside. I heard her whispering to herself, my name mixed with broken sentences, like she was talking to me in her head. She walked right past where I stood in the shadows. When she reached the hallway, I stepped out and swung. The bat connected with her shoulder. She screamed, spun, claws out. We crashed to the floor. She was stronger than she looked, nails raking my arms, teeth trying to bite, sobbing that I'd betrayed her, that Mia had brainwashed me, that we were meant to be together. Cole came running, tackled her off me, pinned her, until the cops arrived 20 minutes later. They found dozens of printed photos of me in her bag, maps with my locations circled, a knife still wet with Mia's blood. Turns out she'd flown in from another state the day after that dinner photo went up. Mia survived, physically at least. She still flinches when someone stands too close. I stopped posting anything that shows where I am, what I'm wearing, even the weather. Every new follower with too many heart emojis gets blocked instantly. Emma Ray is locked up now, awaiting trial for attempted murder and stalking. Some of her old followers still defend her online, say she's mentally ill and just loved him too much. They call Mia the villain. They call me cruel for pressing charges. I don't make videos the way I used to. When I do, I film in empty rooms with blank walls. I triple check every frame before it goes live. Some nights, I still wake up reaching for the bat that isn't there anymore. I still look out windows before I open curtains. And every time a notification pings, my heart stops for half a second. Just in case it's another Emma starting the cycle all over again. That's what living under someone else's obsession does. It never really leaves you.